Hello and welcome to the Candace Club. You're now entering the Candace Club. Today we're going to talk about the 13 dimensions of the universe and the cherubim. Now we derive this from the book of Exodus 26:1. It says, "Make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of finely twisted linen and blue, purple, and scarlet yarn with cherubim woven into them by a skilled worker." Now with that, you have to understand that we're talking about the tabernacle. The tabernacle of the temple is supposed to resemble the universe, supposed to resemble the cosmos, the solar system. So with the tabernacle in the temple, the covering of the tabernacle of the temple is covered by 10 curtains, 10 layers, 10 skins, essentially. Now, when we look at that individually, just based on that, we only get 10 layers. But there's also 3 more where we have additionally different skins and hair. There's additional layer that is called the dugong skin. There's also a layer of ram's leather and goat's hair, so that equals 13. 10 linen curtains with the additional layer of dugong skin and additional layer of ram's leather, 12, and then on top of all that, goat's hair, 13. Now, all these resemble the 13 zodiac constellations, the 12-13 Mazzaroth. Now, these are 13 dimensions. What we understand is that all of the constellations are meant to resemble the 12 tribes, the 13 tribes of Israel, which are representative of the 12-13 zodiacs of the constellations. Thus, we have here with these constellated worlds, these are constellated worlds, and if they're constellated worlds, they're also constellated dimensions. Now, these constellated worlds, and I say worlds is that these constellations are gateways into higher worlds, meaning the constellations we see up above, those are mere gateway, constellated lattices, gateways into the world in which they represent. So for instance, the constellation of Leo, that is the entry point, that entire constellation is an entry point, gateway into Leo's dimensional world. Now when we talk about the cherubim are a collective, cosmological collective entities, cosmological collective micro entities. And the thing about these is that they're micro and macro. They're inverse, converse, the fractal. So you have lower degrees of scales, the cherubim on the micro scale down to our biological structure. We have lattices of the cherubim weaved into our flesh, weaved into our biological structure and our physics of the human body, in our atoms. Because the cherubim, you see that when they're described in scripture, weaved into the linen, they have a pattern, they have a sequence like atoms, like the atomic structure has, and the DNA has a sequence. It's a lattice, it's a layer, it's a fractal continuous sequence, and that has a scaling up into higher grades of representation and manifestation of this cherubim, from a micro to macro scale to the highest, representing a world, a galactic world, to the representative where they're collective entity, cosmological collective entity that is a egregore of a higher reality, a egregore of a collective entity, a collective world. Cherubim that we see with the 4 faces, those are 4 worlds, the lion, ox, eagle, man, that are the 4 cardinal points of the constellated universe that stretch out to 12-13 zodiacs that are in and of themselves entry points into the world in which they represent. So 13 dimensions, 13 worlds, and all of those have their dividing section of firmament. That firmament is a lattice. It is a lattice in which the cherubim and their galactic cosmological cherubim weaved into the universe. Because if the cherubim are weaved into the temple, which represents the universe, represent the cosmos and firmaments and heavens. Then the cherubim are also weaved into the firmaments, the galactic firmaments that separates each layer of heaven, each layer of each dimension, 13 dimensions. And that layer is, the design of that layer is a lattice. It has a sequence, a fractal, continuous sequence, repeating sequence. That design, that embroiderment, that pattern is a pattern of the four faces of God, the lion, ox, eagle, man, the cherubim. As with the sequence of DNA has the same pattern of lion, ox, eagle, man, all from a microscopic scale to a macroscopic scale, circling and directing, pointing to God, pointing to Christ, declaring the glory of God from the microscopic scale to the macroscopic scale. Everything from the heavens to the earth to the most minute nature, most minute particle, to the plane scale all the way up to the galactic worlds, point to Christ, because they have that sequence, that lattice, that continuous sequence of lion, ox, eagle, man, that declares the glory of God in its vibration and its frequency. That is how the world continues to exist, because it has that continuous vibration of the essence of Christ. Now we have that. Now understanding that is that the cherubim are weaved into our flesh, our atomic structure, which if it's weaved into our biological flesh or skin, then it has to also be weaved into our atomic structure, because that is where we get our fleshly skin. It derives from that. Now, understanding that the cherubim are collective cosmological worlds, lion, ox, eagle, man, all four worlds in the cardinal worlds, stretching out to 12, 13 dimensions. We have those 12, 13 dimensions weaved into our flesh, weaved into our body. So we have access to all the resources and the provisions and the energies of those worlds. That is how you are a walking vehicle of creation, to be able to harness from all the universes and all the 13 dimensions, and to channel that into this physical reality, to terraform the earth according to the pattern of heaven, according to the blueprint of the New Jerusalem. And you are a city on a hill. It says that you are the light of the world. Therefore, the city of light is on a mountain. The New Jerusalem is on a mountain. And you are a light that is placed on a mountain, on a hill. Therefore, you are a mountain that is shining. You see, you are that light. You are that light of the world. You are a cosmological display of the glory of God that also has the power to unlimited, inexhaustible power and resources and energy to channel the power and resources and energies of God into the earth. So, understanding that the 12, 13 dimensions of the universe correlate with the cherubim, because the cherubim, the four cherubim, represent and span out to 12, 13 constellations. The lion, ox, eagle, man, but that is not all. They represent the 12 tribes of Israel with a different zodiac sign and a different standard. That is all weaved into the cherubim as collective cosmological worlds, and those cosmological worlds through the cherubim weaved into your flesh as lattices, sequences, patterns. Your flesh is embroidered with a pattern of the four faces of God, so that you represent Christ, and you have cosmological worlds weaved into your flesh to be able to create worlds yourself. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.